As society evolves and develops, so does animal agriculture. We have embraced an industry that permits the abuse of animals.
On your mind, it's in your mouth, it's pork, and it's catching on. The other white meat. Taste what's next.
On time, we'll be done with chores by 9. All the cattle lined up nicely in rows.
Though we sometimes get annoyed, look at us, we're self-employed. We love our job and hope that it shows. And we'll be taking care of livestock every day.
Taking care of livestock.
Pitching hay, we've been
Taking care of livestock.
They're both fine.
Taking
Early 20th century, the United States of America's transition into urbanization called for a much larger market of meat the country had ever seen before. As one of the top global exporters of beef and pork, the methods used to produce this meat can be astonishing. Whereas in Europe, the quality of life of animals in the factory farms are surrounded by a much healthier and happier environment than before the 20th century. Instead of downgrading like the US, they have upgraded. In the continent of Europe, the European Unions, which is a political and economic organization, 27 countries have adopted a legislation that protects farm animals. Directive 9858 EC sets general rules for the protection of farmed animals. They are often referred to as the 5 freedoms. The 5 freedoms are as follows. 1. Freedom to express normal behavior. This means that a farmer has to have the adequate installations for the animal to behave like it would in nature. In other words, a pig must have the space to go and play in the mud, a cow must be able to graze green grass outside, not be locked up in a stable tied to a pole. 2. Freedom from thirst, hunger, and malnutrition. This means to make sure that the animal has access to fresh water at all times, and that the animal has a diet in place to maintain health. 3. Freedom from discomfort. This means providing a safe shelter and comfortable environment for the animal to rest. In other words, making sure the animal does not have to swim his way across a river in order to get to a shelter. 4. Freedom from pain, injury, and disease, ensuring that if the animal does get sick or injured, a treatment will be provided quickly. 5. Freedom from fear or distress, making sure that the environment and treatment the animal is surrounded by will not cause mental suffering. On top of these 5 freedoms, from 1981 to 1999, 5 different countries banned different methods of caging for animals. Sweden, the Dutch, and West Germany banned battery cages from being used because they were considered cruel. The British, on their side, banned the veal crate and the intensive confinement of sows because of their cruelty.
Meanwhile, in America, the efforts to protect the well-being of animals is close to non-existence. Although Americans are promised by many companies' advertisements their meat is raised free from abuse and cruelty, sadly, this is far from the truth. This is because modern industrial farming places more value over efficiency than being morally correct. It also helps that the government does little to stop these corporations. Currently, there are only 2 federal laws in place for transport and slaughter. The Humane Methods of Livestock Slaughter Act requires that livestock be quickly rendered insensible to pain before being slaughtered. Yet inside the walls of massive production, there aren't any government employees ensuring these laws follow through, which is why it is seen in secret footage employees hit, drown, taser, and perform other forms of abuse on these animals. A recent study shows that Americans are not okay with the treatment animals are receiving. The American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals revealed 94% of Americans agreed that animals raised for food should live free from abuse and cruelty. So how are companies getting away with this inhumane methods? A lot goes into the gray area of labeling. Consumers are lied into believing that their meat is cage-free. However, this claim usually means instead of being stuffed into a cage, they were stuffed into an overcrowded pen or shed. Another common misunderstanding is the use of humanly raised or humanly handled. And without a clearly defined description, this label is easy to use subjectively. What makes this issue such a global one is the effects it's having on us as well as the environment. Large-scale confinements pollute the water and land nearby. A technique used by many of these farms is to fill giant pits in the ground with animal waste. Millions of gallons of feces and urine collect here, destroying the land and making the air hard to breathe. It's also important to note how much natural resources go into the food production. If all the grain currently fed to livestock in the United States were consumed directly by people, the number of people who could be fed would be nearly 800 million. This is a quote from David Pimentel, professor of ecology in Cornell University's College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. This goes to show how demanding animal farming at such a mass scale is. With the world's growing population, it is simply not attainable to keep up this lifestyle. Soon, there will be too many people to eat the amount of meat consumers are today. That's why it's better to change our habits now before we damage the land and our bodies even more. The main issue here is not the fact of eating meat, because people have been doing that for centuries, and they're not going to change that opinion overnight. The issue is how we go about getting our meat. The amount of meat has been growing steadily over the last few years in America. The NPR's data shows America consumes 270.7 pounds per person a year. That's more than any other national average. And compare this to the European environmental studies that Europeans consume 105. That's a pretty big difference. America currently butchers more than 20 billion animals annually in unspeakable ways. But by looking at Europe, we see that it doesn't have to be done so cruelly. Although in no way Europe is a perfect example, by following basic humane laws against animals, their treatment is far, far much better. It's time for our society to take action against the corporations serving us unethical food. We, the consumers, are the only people who can take a stand for animals without a voice. In order to protect the fleeting environment, the health of our bodies, and society's moral standards. Because when we stoop low and accept these conditions, it reflects who we are. It's time to take notes from other countries and change the way we do things.